Every sports fan has an opinion. Well, these are ours. Welcome to Brock and Pep's Unsportsmanlike Convo.
Right.
And here are your hosts, Brock Fleming and Pep Cariotti.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is April 20th, 2021. We are in lockdown or curfew is in full effect, given the province that you live in. I'm Ontario. P-Dog is across the bridge over in Quebec. How you doing, P-Dog?
I'm good, man. Hey, can somebody text Mike Ferreira to give him his reminder? Curtis, if you could just shoot him a quick...
Give him a little wake-up call.
Yeah, I told him I would, and I forgot. So...
All right. Well, welcome any new listeners to the show. Obviously, we're on Facebook Live on the Unsportsmanlike Convo group. Also, more importantly, we are on Cap City Beat, which is capcitybeats.ca for the website. There's also a free app, which is phenomenal. Download it. You can listen to us straight audio or video through the app. And obviously, if you miss anything with the show, go and tune to our podcast where you'll find these episodes posted a day or two later. All right, let's get right into it, man. What do we got?
Listen, before we start talking sports and topics, I want to give a shout out to George's Cupboard. Young lady based out of Nepean runs she makes masks. She's been doing it right since the pandemic started. And so last April, May, I think it might have been May, actually, I ordered this really cool Star Trek one that she made. Again, she has some really cool custom class. Yeah. But it's really, you know what? It's affordable. I think it was only $10. And if you want, she can ship it to you for another $2.50. Or you can meet her in person and forget the shipping fees. So it's just really cool stuff. It's local too. She has an Etsy store. So it's called George's Cupboard. George is in the front, the proper name, and the cupboard. And she's on Etsy as well. So anyway, I wanted to give her a shout out because I may have made a boo-boo in ordering one and I got sent the wrong cloth, but it might have been my fault. So she's sending me another one for free. So shout out to her and that little business. So I wanted to get that out of the way first.
Well, hey, shout out. It's great. I like supporting local businesses, all that kind of stuff. A little heads up would have been cool, and we could have had her little logo and stuff on the ground.
I couldn't find anything.
Just the address, the spelling of it, even anything.
Yeah,
heads up would have been cool. Anyway, I'll have to take a look and find out because cool masks are always fun to have and switch things up. She
has a Facebook page. So if you go on, if you keyword search George's Cupboard, you'll find her Facebook page, and I believe the Etsy store is called George's Cupboard. So you could find her there if you need the address or want to email her or whatever. So
you should find out how to do the Etsy store because we need to do that for our gear. We got to get that in place and get going.
Hi, Mike.
Georgie's Cupboard. I was expecting baked goods.
It's not Georgie's Cupcakes. It's George's Cupboard.
Hey, you keep all the baking supplies in the cupboard.
That's right.
Mix it up. Give it to us.
Cool.
All right. We also have a special birthday. We're not going to say it yet because we actually have him on the show today. So we'll wish him happy birthday when he comes on. He's an old man, shrinking day by day and whatever. Anyway, he's going to come on after the sponsor. Okay, we got stuff we want to talk about.
Yeah.
Right away. Shoot.
I didn't see the fight. I just saw the 1 minute clip on TikTok. You stayed up and watched the fight, and you were clearly disappointed by your post. Quick take on Logan Paul or whatever, Jake Paul, whoever it was. Jake, right?
It was Jake Paul. So
and Ben Askren,
younger, more annoying brother of the two Pauls, which are internet or social media, whatever.
Influencers, I guess.
Millionaires, influencers, yada, yada. They fight. Yeah, I stayed up for it. The fight itself felt very scripted, didn't last very long. Askren, however you say his last name, the UFC fighter he gets in the ring and they talk about all his accolades and they're all wrestling based. Like he doesn't throw hands whatsoever. So he's in a boxing match right away. You're like, what's going on? And then they show him, and this guy did not take training seriously. He did not care. He was getting a payday regardless. I think he got $1 million, which was probably more than he ever got with this UFC fighting. Yep. But I'm in this, meal plan workout stuff with Pat Woodcock and his Elite Performance. And I got to do these like body composition pictures every week. and Askren's back looked like mine. Like it was just like, what are you doing? Like you're
Mhm.
in public, supposed to be fighting somebody, and you're this chunky little Oreo eating kid. That's just like you're just there for a payday. So this was
Yeah.
the fight didn't even start till about 12:30, quarter to one. I was extremely angry by that time, so I really wanted to see somebody take it. And this kid took it one punch, and he was down and out, and then sort of it looked like he kind of faked a bit of a wobble to make sure that didn't go on. Absolute garbage. The production was garbage. Listening to guys like Snoop and Mario Lopez talk about it, and the fights was mediocre. Like
It's an
was
insult
garbage.
to the whole industry. It's an
It's
insult.
really bad.
It's an insult to not only the boxing industry, but the commentary industry, the production industry, guys who, if you think back to like even Monday Night Football guys like Dick Enberg and Dan Deerdorf, Al Michaels, guys who take their craft seriously. Television used to be like you needed a certification, you needed experience, you needed a certain amount of professionalism to be able to perform on TV. Now, like Mario Lopez doing boxing. I mean, no, I love Snoop, but what does Snoop know about anything when it comes to sports? Really?
Snoop put $2 million on Jake Paul. That was his big thing. He had a
That was
bet
his thing?
against
Come on.
Dana White for a couple $1 million or something like that, which was probably the most exciting part when you're like, oh, somebody put $2 million. That's a guaranteed. The fact that Dana White put $2 million on the other guy or whatever the bet was is, I thought he was smarter than that. He knew this guy wasn't going to do very well. And I saw George St. Pierre even comment on it with Joe Rogan, and he was kind of like, look, this isn't this guy's forte whatsoever. And he's like, I just hope he doesn't get embarrassed and doesn't embarrass us. Like as a UFC fighting fraternity, don't embarrass us.
Mhm.
At the same time, Joe Rogan's like this, he's getting a monster payday. And St. Pierre was like, well, good for him. Like ultimately you got to take care of your family. You got to think that kind of stuff. So he got a payday out of it. It was a circus at best. And, all it does is I'm not a fan of Jake Paul, but I want to watch, just like I was with Mayweather. I want to see somebody knock him out so bad that I'm going to watch. And I didn't pay for it. I streamed it. So you're not getting my pay-per-view money. That's for damn sure. But otherwise I will watch, hopefully, somebody who has some boxing experience when this guy finally gets cocky enough to get into a ring. And if it's Mike Tyson calling him out saying, I'll be your next fight, even though Mike Tyson is old, I would love to see that. And I just don't think Mike Tyson's going in to take a dive against this kid. And, again, I'm just hoping somebody goes in there and actually gets hands on this guy.
It's going to be hard to find someone like that unless this Paul kid actually wants to like fight for the title, like a WBC title or something that has any relevance. Otherwise, he's going to go into these exhibitions and guys aren't going to really train for it. And it's going to be like, it's all it's going to be. So unless there's meaning to it, these exhibitions are just going to continue to be what they are. They're going to be a joke. It's going to be a war of words, some stupid pre and post stuff, and that'll be it. So
I think you're true. You're right. I think it's Ken Gale that wrote this. So what does AC Slater know about boxing?
Yeah, good point, Ken.
And honestly, I think the boxing world is kind of struggling for something. Now, I'm not saying these are sanctioned events, but like Oscar De La Hoya was talking the whole night about him coming back and fighting people and whatever. And it's turned into a sideshow. And I think they're just grasping onto anything to keep the sport going almost.
Well, Evander Holyfield's scheduled a fight in June. So
right. All these guys are coming back because that's when boxing was good.
Yes.
I mean, what's the guy? Canadian went to Lennox
Lewis. Yeah.
Lennox Lewis is supposed to be fighting somebody as well. Like there's that talk. He was called up by somebody and he's gonna, he's open to it. Like it's really boxing is clinging on to the heyday and trying to. These are the guys that we grew up watching, and when boxing was fun to watch. That's what we watched.
I wouldn't even say clinging on, actually, Brock. I would say they're trying to relive or recapture. I think it's been dead for a long time. The Klitschko's era was boring. I do like Tyson Fury. I will say that. I like that guy. I wish there were more guys like him, but I think it died for like a decade. And now they're trying to recapture by bringing these guys back. And kudos to Tyson for I would say he started all this with the exhibition with was it Jones Jr., the one that we watched?
Yeah, but I think they were doing some of these sideshow things before, like the Logan Paul, the older brother, had done
Oh God.
fights.
Yeah,
Same,
yeah.
our mystery guest in the back, not a mystery, but he was saying that he watched it and like there's drugs and alcohol in plain view. Like they're talking about having shots and smoking up all that kind of stuff. Like it's a party and a sideshow more so than a boxing event. I mean, Justin Bieber's performing and it's a concert at the same time. Ice Cube was on, which was probably the best part. He had a pretty decent little set, but again, not worth it whatsoever.
No.
Don't support these events. This is not sport. This is on the level of wrestling, but for the entertainment value. But you're trying to sell it as an actual sporting event, which it's not.
Good comparison. Speaking of wrestling, very good comparison actually. Speaking of wrestling, WWE Stone Cold Steve Austin biography was on A&E on the weekend, and I know we all know wrestling is scripted for them. Well, it's scripted, but there's the politics behind it, all the stuff that goes behind the scenes. I mean, there's real beef, there's real heat in the back. Back in the day in wrestling, you didn't break out a character in public. It was a big no-no. There was a lot of rules. These A&E biographies started this week. They're doing a special on WWF, WWE legends, and they started off with Stone Cold. And these stories are great, man. These guys, Stone Cold started off with nothing, traveling city to city, 400 or 500 mile drives to make $10, sleeping in his car. So it was a really good. I thought the Stone Cold, if it's a sign of what's to come, this was a really good one. So I think this week is Roddy Piper. I'm not sure if you're going to watch anything, Brock, but if you do like the biography types of these,
I do.
I think you'll really enjoy some of this stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's exactly like this would be the best part for me from a wrestling thing is you understand who these guys are a little bit and whatever, but really when you get to see behind the scenes, their lives, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if you watch, my kids love it, the Young Rock. So that show and
it's awesome.
Again, The Rock himself is in it for 30 seconds a show, I think tops, but the sort of background stuff, and it did bring some enjoyment where I'm like, oh, Andre the Giant. You're trying to show the kids who that guy is in terms of actors and stuff like that, and movies he was in that they might know, and you see like what life was like from that standpoint, from a wrestling family trying to go through it. And so I can imagine that a real depiction of that in the A&E biographies would be a lot of fun to watch.
For sure. And even like little things like how these guys get their name, right? And how they got to be sold. Like, so when Stone Cold came from WCW, he was named the he was the ringmaster. So he fought for like 6 months under that moniker, and he's like, I can't sell this. I'm not the ringmaster. What the hell is that? So Vince McMahon told him, look, here's a list of names that you can choose. We got to rebrand you because this isn't working. And on the list was like Freezy McCool and the Iceman. There was a bunch of like ridiculous names, and he's like, nah, I'm gonna go. I got this thing. I just watched a program on a serial killer, and they called him Stone Cold, and I want to be that. And that's how it started. So I think those kind of stories are kind of cool. It's like hearing football stories or hockey stories, like it's kind of neat stuff that you never hear back. So anyway, we were going to talk about some of the soccer stuff, but we'll come back to that in another show with Marco, who's on the Soccer Snobs. He's also on Cap City Beats. We'll come back and talk about what's going on with Champions League and all these rich teams wanting to bail and create their Super League. And
so soccer is no more as a sport. It is no more.
That's not the case. No, that's not the case. No. They're still a sport.
Okay.
They pulled the plug on the Super League. That's all I know, and we'll get updates from Marco maybe next week or the week after. Before I want to mention our golf experience, I know we're taking a little bit longer on this intro here, but Mike Tomlin's re-signed for 3 more years. He gets a lot of criticism. He's never had a season worse than 8-8 since 2000. Well, since his first year in 2007. The Steelers organization has only had 3 coaches since 1969. I don't think there's an organization, college, pros, whatever, any sport, that can say that they've only had 3 coaches in like 50 years. Can you think of anybody off the top of your head? There's got to be a college football program that's only had a couple of coaches.
The Ottawa 67s. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just
Kilray?
Guys who were very old when they stopped coaching and had been with the team for a long time. So
Killer? Okay, yeah.
Killer would be there.
Okay.
But
Didn't think of that. So that's it's pretty impressive, and it speaks to all the success they've had and the consistency, and you know what to expect. And the Steeler way, it's a legitimate thing. It's a Steeler way. We've only had 3 coaches. That's how we do it. So anyway, shout out to Mike Tomlin. Congratulations. And there was one. Did you want to? Where's your prom picture?
Oh yeah. So okay.
Sorry, this is on our show page, folks, and I just noticed it this afternoon, and it said Brock's prom picture. I have no idea what relevance this is, so I'm going to hand it over to you, bro.
So Ange got a forward from one of her brothers, not Mike, Tony, who had forwarded this. Said, I found Brock's prom picture. Of course, I get it. I look at it. I'm like, that's awkward. I show Curtis, he dies, and I'm like, I'll show Pep, but I'm going to show him just on the show.
Okay.
So this is the.
Oh yeah. What? I'm sorry.
This is a post from Jim Gaffigan, who in the comments says like that's not him either, but this guy sure likes to party. And so Anne's got this picture sent to her, said, I think I found Brock's prom picture.
Oh my God, B.
It's almost like a poodle haircut, and
not almost.
He's very angry.
Looks like dog ears.
Anyway,
oh my God.
That's the prom picture I was talking about.
Fantastic. That is unbelievable.
That'll probably be the album cover for this week's episode on the podcast too.
But by the way, we're a little bit over for our intro, but you know what? We have really 2 major topics to talk about today, so we should be okay. I did want to mention I had the privilege of watching the Flemings go at it 1-on-1. Well, it was actually 2-on-2. There were 2 other teammates in golf this weekend at the
Shadow Cartier Golf Resort, I think is what it's called.
So it was the first annual family affair where you guys have probably played against each other many times, but I'm going to call it the first annual because I was there.
Right.
And it was Brock Fleming and our buddy Scott Endicott, Brock's partner when it comes to CFI, I believe, right? CFI and Football Forward. Great guy.
Forward and yeah.
Versus Curtis Fleming, one of our executive producers, and Rebecca Langiel, who's a close friend of ours, who kind of underplayed her game. She was, from the week leading up to it, she's like, guys, I'm not very good. Are you sure? I'm not really good. I'm this and that and the other. And she was really good. Yeah.
Her shots were so consistent. It was
accurate.
You could tell she's played a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't go as far sometimes, but it was just consistent. Boom, boom, boom. Always great shots.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed. And I was impressed with all of you. And like Kurt's drives, his short game. You're Brock, you're a very good athlete. I don't think there's a whole lot you don't do well. It's kind of impressive. For a big guy, generally speaking, taller people are quote unquote supposed to be clumsier, or coordination is generally an issue when you're the taller you are. You're a good athlete, man. You do pretty much everything really well.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
Charles Barkley gives us a bad name when it comes to golf, but Curtis his drives Curtis gets up there and he's got a lot of built up rage, and he just kind of channels it properly and crushes the ball. But,
wow. His biceps. He comes out. Kurt, first of all, he looks the part when he comes out, right? He's got the golf pants. He's got a nice golf shirt, and he's got those raging biceps that are just they're pulsating out of the shirt. And but he's smiling, so you don't know if you don't really know if he's mad or happy because he's smiling all the time. So he comes out, he just hammers the ball. It's incredible. And then Scott's game. Scott basically didn't have a putter, so every time he got on the green, he was using a pitching, looked like a pitching wedge or some sort of wedge.
So this guy, he gets a new set of golf clubs and sells his old one, but sells the putter by accident. And he's like, "Oh, I got 2 putters." So he was so happy. He convinced the guy who bought them to let him keep one of the putters. And he shows up the putt, and it's essentially a chipper is what it is. So if you golfed and sees these little cheater clubs, it's like it almost looks like a putter, but it's actually the face is a bit more like an iron. So if you kind of putt from the rough, it kind of pops the ball up and gets you over. But instead of taking like a divot or anything like that, which is more apt to to go wide, you get this little chipper. So he's got this 2-sided chipper that's like a triangle. And when he goes to putt, he's got to bend himself down so much and almost like a hockey stick, drag it so that the face would be flat. Anyway, he ended up putting extremely well.
Oh my God.
If you're watching it, you thought this guy had like stomach cramps every time he was putting, but he putted very well. And with that help, we were able to become victorious in the first ever PEP sanctioned golf event.
Yeah, it was awesome. He actually looked like he was putting like Happy Gilmore, kind of his wide stance, 100%. And it was awesome. So thank you guys for letting me come out and drive the cart from my ball. I don't think Kurt and Rebecca want to thank me for driving the cart because I almost killed them a couple times. But hey, it was fun, and I look forward to actually maybe going out and taking a couple swings later in the summer. So, okay, that's 20-minute intro. What are you gonna do, right? Let's pay a quick bill before we bring on our special guest.
Do it up. You got it.
Okay. Oh, that music is so pleasant. Are you selling or buying? Call Tracy Iskander with Royal LePage at Groupe Philippe Lemay. They have the buyers and the right game plan to find you a new home. You'll get personalized service in all sectors of the Outaouais region. Tracy is fluently bilingual, and with a combined 40 years of real estate experience at Groupe Philippe Lemay, you can rest assured your home buying journey will be handled with first-class care and the best prices on the market. Call Tracy today at 613-324-3781 or email her at tracy@tracyiskander.com.
Beautiful.
Love that music.
Yeah, it's very soothing.
Yeah, I don't know, wherever you found it, that's a good call. That's a
if anybody is looking for a realtor and therefore looking for a house and is quality and somebody I know, my next door neighbor, literally next door, is selling their place. Very well kept, very nice little place, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathroom, sick neighbors, you know.
Awesome.
All right. Let's bring on our quote unquote mystery guest whose birthday was.
Hello. I wish I was a little
Sig Charles joined us.
Hey, there's the man. There's the man.
Guys. How's it going, guys?
It's going well.
Good. Thank you for that.
Listen, our intro took a little bit longer than anticipated, which is that's just how we roll. That's just how we roll. So,
no problem.
Thanks for sticking around in the green room. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you.
Belated.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
One of the true nice guys, eh, Brock?
100%. The guy's got nothing but nice things to say. He's pumping my tires in the private chat while
it's true.
I've never about me playing golf, all that kind of stuff, and he's like, I've never seen Brock drop a pass and all this. Anyway,
it's true. Yeah, if I wasn't getting the ball, you're gonna get it, so you better catch it.
You know what, Brock? I'll tell you what, Brock and I did some receiver drills years ago.
Thank you, Mike.
And I was running 25-yard outs, and he was throwing them to me like dead in my hands, perfect on the sidelines, like perfect spiral accuracy, hard. And I'm like, this guy's got an arm too. What can't he do?
Brock, I don't know if you remember, you caught a pass in practice with the GGs one time, and you just took off, and everyone was surprised, and I'm like, why don't we just use this guy as tight end?
Yeah.
What are we doing over here?
That's right.
What are we doing? But hey,
any excuse for me to try and get the ball, I would do that.
Oh,
quarterback at Philemon too, and the coach was like, "Well, who's going to block for you? Like, you're up there anyway." Hey, I always think that I'm a skilled person in a big man's body, so I would try all these different things.
Well, you're extremely skilled, I'll tell you that. I was going to start this segment. We're talking NBA. We're talking Raptors. But I was going to start this segment because I wasn't sure if the Derek Chauvin verdict would be in yet.
Mm-hmm.
And it came in. And he's guilty as charged. And I'm happy for that verdict. I think most people are that I know. All 3 count. Good. So, but what initially, because the NBA had gone out and said, listen, if this turns this thing goes sideways, we're going to have to cancel games, and that would have probably led to a trickle down with the NHL and MLB, and they probably would have done something too. So I'm happy about that. I'm actually happy we don't have to discuss it. But I do want to mention one experience I had today, just to give you an example of some of the stuff that people perceive from the police. On my way into Ontario to work with a client, and I get to they have the border patrols, right? I get to the Ontario side, so they're OPP. Lovely, super nice. Hey, where are you going here? Here's where I'm going. Oh, and so I said to the cop, I said, you know what? I'm going to be back this way probably like in 2 hours or so, give or take. You guys want coffee? And so he said, yeah, that'd be awesome. It's super nice. And then there was like 5 cops. They all waved me by. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to bring these guys coffee. Boom. Do my thing. Stop at a Timmy's, get one of those little kegs, which serves about 12 coffees. And I come back and it's a different crew. It's not the same 5. I thought they were going to be the same 5. No big deal. So I'm looping around the Portage Bridge. I had to do a U-turn to get back to their where they were patrolling. So I get to the first guy, and I roll down the window. I'm like, hey, this is kind of awkward, but I have coffees for you guys because I told the crew previous that I'd get them coffees. And the guy just stared at me. He's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, okay. Do you want me to park and sit and bring you the coffee? Or he's like, yeah, it's okay over there. Like, no, thank you, no, nothing, right? And I'm like, I don't do that stuff to get notoriety or whatever. But I'm like, okay. Had I have known it was this dude, I wouldn't have spent my $15 or whatever I spent, right? Like I just
100%.
So it's kind of a bit of a roll of the dice sometimes. And in policing, I just find that they can't afford to have bad apples or jerks. It's if the one industry where you cannot afford to have a single jerk working. I know it's not reasonable or rational to think that way, but that was just my experience today. And that was like one millionth of what some other people deal with. So it was okay. There was the other cops when I pulled over. The other cops were kind of thankful, like, "Oh, cool, man, coffee. Yeah, I could use one. I'm about to fall asleep here." They don't want to be doing this right now, by the way. But just the whole, it kind of soured me a little bit. And I was like, "Oh, okay, no, thank you from that jerk." And he was the first one to get a coffee. He's the first one in line to pour. So,
of course.
Anyway, I thought I would share that. I don't really know what context I'm putting it in, but just to give people an idea of my experience today. I don't know if you guys have ever had anything like that happen to you.
I mean, you're right. Like, it's a profession that doesn't really allow bad days, and everybody has bad days. There's different things going through their heads, their stresses, all that kind of stuff. Who knows what's going through that guy's mind? But they have to be able to work past it and
sure.
And again, the fact that the guy wasn't super appreciative or whatever of the coffee, is a minor thing. He didn't like smack the coffee out of your hand and like get mad. And actually, your story would have been even funnier if the box of coffee was like over your shoulder in the back, and you were like, "The hell with this! I just took the coffee home."
Take off.
But so I think it's a minor thing that you're going through, but it does make you think, say, well, obviously there's bigger situations, and these people are going through, their own turmoils, and then they have to put the badge on and protect and try and, be a certain way every time they're out there. That's hard. Like,
for sure.
Can you imagine being that, Scott and everybody knows I don't hide my emotions very well either. If I don't like you or if you're bothering me or whatever, it's all over my face. I'm not, able to sugarcoat it very well. Fortunately, there's not a lot of people that get me that way, but like everybody's got their own things, and it just happens to be in that profession. So it's a very touchy thing, and it's got to be for them from a mental standpoint to, differentiate and separate a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I won't get too far into it. I've had a few experiences myself. One where I was given a ticket that I really didn't deserve. You guys talked about how you say, like, Sig's a nice guy and whatnot. I was in a work truck. I got a ticket that I didn't violate any laws. And then the Crown called me like a week or two later, basically to tell me when to show up and what the fine was going to be. And she told me that you don't sound like the person on this ticket. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm like, I don't believe I deserve this ticket. So she ended up taking off like $300 off the ticket. And I guess I just caught this guy on a bad day, or I was the wrong person he wanted to see. Who knows? I don't know exactly what the situation was, but the Crown did realize that, hey, maybe this was one of the bad apples that was kind of acting out of using his authority, in the wrong way kind of thing. And, brought the fine down. So I was lucky in that aspect, but.
And I don't think it's not reasonable to expect perfection. I don't think you can be perfect all the time, 24/7. You just can't at anything you do. But it is reasonable to expect courtesy. For me personally, if I'm having a bad day and someone's nice to me, I'm still going to be nice back. As hard as it is, as some of the crap that I've been through over the last 5 years, I still find a way to acknowledge someone's kindness. So. Again, this was like I'm blowing it out of proportion. It was kind of a funny story, and this guy was not like, he was chill. He had sunglasses on. He seemed like he was just like, he seemed high actually. But I thought it was my first instinct. But anyway, interesting. I'm glad it turned out the way it did today. I'm glad we're not having to have this conversation about what could possibly happen in Minnesota tonight. But let's talk a little Raptors. Raptors keep winning, despite the fact that they've sat OG, Van Vliet, Pascal, and Lowry the last 2 games. So, first of all, I don't know why they're sitting all 4. They got fined for that because they were resting more than 2 regulars.
Mm-hmm. Is that what it is? So that's how the fine, because then the Spurs get fined for that as well. Some sort of resting players.
Yeah, you have to give your like it's like almost like, is it baseball or football where you have to give your health report sort of beforehand? There's a certain amount of time. Well, the same thing in NBA, and I guess the Raptors didn't. They just sat them and didn't even dress. So, like, what are they doing? They're in the 10 spot. They're in a play-in game right now. Are they trying to lose these games and then winning by accident? They look like they're trying hard. It's not like it's for a lack of effort or anything. What's your take, guys, on what the Raptors are doing? Like, I don't get it.
It's weird.
Before Sig gets into diagnosing the Raptors of what they're doing, because his opinion is going to be a lot more than mine. But from a professional athlete standpoint, you can't, especially if you're resting your starters, you can't then expect the guys that are getting playing time now to play less hard and not go to win. Okay. So from a respect standpoint, a career standpoint, whatever, their body of work is what's going to get them paid. So there is no whatever. So if there is any, thought of like, what, it doesn't matter if we win because we're kind of like happy if we don't make the playoffs. So let's rest some of our stars and whatever. The organization, the coaching staff, and that discussion at upper level is being had, and they're resting their regulars and stars in order to maybe facilitate that. But by no means is that a reflection of the effort and talent that the guys that are playing have, and you can't expect them to play any less than possible. This is their opportunity. This is where you have a chance to shine and get paid next season, or be attractive for a team that needs somebody like you and to trade for you, whatever. This is your opportunity. So again, from that standpoint, you talk about like, oh, they look like they're playing hard. Yeah, I guarantee they're playing as hard as they possibly can because this is their opportunity. That doesn't mean the Raptors aren't, from an organizational standpoint, content to lose.
Sig?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not completely impressed with like the run right now. The Raptors are a good team. I think they not that they're a good team. I think they have a good chemistry. They have a good system. I think the coaching is decent. And they're playing well together right now, regardless of who's going in there, at this point. But yeah, they're professionals at the end of the day. So these guys are going to be playing hard. They get paid to play the game, regardless of who's in there. Somebody can get hot. You know what I mean? Someone could get hot. They have players that can do that. So I think that's a lot of what we're seeing. But I don't understand, like, the teams that they've played, I'm not really impressed, put it this way. Like, if they're winning games, I'm not really impressed with the teams that they're beating right now. I think the East, overall in the NBA, there's a lot of guys that are hurt right now. There are a lot of teams that have key players hurt, so they might be squeaking out, a couple of wins, on that front. But and I'm not really impressed. But at the same time, I don't know exactly what their plan is going into the next season. So it's like, are they completely going to tank and rest their guys, or are they playing all of their bench to get these guys used to more playing time? And because I mean, if they get into the playoffs, what damage are they going to do? You know,
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, right? And depending on who they play, they like you mentioned their recent opponents. I mean, they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. That was the last game they played. Oklahoma City Thunder rolled into town, losing 9 in a row. So,
Right.
it hasn't been top flight opponents, but
a win is a win. In the
a
end
win
of
is
the
a
day,
win.
but
And
still.
like I say, they're sitting in the 10 seed right now, and they can't say, well, yeah, we're in the 10 seed, but we don't want it. Like if they make the 10 seed, they're in the play-in. So
they're gonna play hard.
And they're going to play hard. And you know what? Look, it's Philly, Brooklyn, Boston at the top. And I'm going to throw Miami in there. Those are the top flight teams. Milwaukee, but the Raptors, outside of maybe Philly, the Raptors can beat those teams, and the Raptors have beaten those teams this year. And now the fact that they've gotten a little bit more size with Gillespie and Kem Birch, I think it's important that they start developing some chemistry with the big guys, the big players, OG and Pascal, and like, let's go. There's only like 15 games left. We got to do it. We want to read Mike's comment, bro.
Well, he brought up a point. He said, if you're winning with those players, shouldn't you not mess with what's working and stay with who's working hard?
Hey,
now,
the
question is, if you stay with that lineup as your starters, I guess if you're fine for resting players, aka they're not even in uniform, right? Versus you go with that lineup the whole time, and the other guys are dressed on the bench, you don't get fined for that, correct?
I'd have to look up the rule, but it sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, these guys they're not dressing. They're not dressing at all.
Okay.
I just want to know what the Raptors are doing. I mean, are they just resting these guys because they anticipate a playoff run and they're going to be full steam ahead when the playoffs start? I mean, you could look at it from that perspective as well. Maybe that's the case too. Maybe they're just giving Lowry some. I mean, all these guys have complained about. I think was it Fred VanVleet that came out and said this is the weirdest season of my life.
Unpure, most unpure.
Unpure is the word he used. I don't know what he means by that exactly, but I mean that could be like living in Tampa to the COVID situation to no family.
I read that article, and I think he feels like it's more of a manufactured product that they're giving. It's not so much basketball. It's like, here's the show, and guess what? Tomorrow we got these guys, and guess what? Tomorrow we got these guys. So and the whole resting thing, like. If I was someone, like, I know COVID's going on right now, but if I was someone who was paying money to go and see somebody play, I'm flying halfway across the world to go and see this guy play, and he's not dressing because he's resting, I'd be pretty upset.
Hey,
and even if you're watching a game from home, right? Like, you might be like, oh, I'm gonna tune in at 10 o'clock because Steph Curry's gonna go up against Kawhi Leonard, and then you're just like, oh, okay, Steph Curry's resting, or no, actually, in that situation, it'd be Kawhi Leonard resting. But, I feel like it's a manufactured product. You're having more games forced in. This whole play-in thing is just an exhibition almost. You know what I mean? It's not exhibition because it's more important, but it's just pardon me?
That makes sense then, because I think Fred VanVleet is scheduled to fight Jake Paul next week.
Yes.
Right. That actually
for his Lamborghini.
That happened to me in April of 2015. I went to go see the Raptors and Lakers. I was super pumped, but I had bought tickets long before, and it was April. The Lakers were awful, like they were not good. And Kobe was like a healthy scratch or whatever. It was just resting because he was going to finish off the season at home. So I was pretty pumped, right? Lakers tickets and versus anybody else when you're buying them on Ticketmaster are like $100 more. So I was like, whatever. I want to see the Lakers. I'm going to see Kobe and watch him go nuts. But no, I wasn't able to do it. Still a good experience, but yeah, to your point, I mean, if you're paying money, let's go.
Depending on when that is. Like, do you think Toronto gets the short end of the stick sometimes with that? Because yes, the ticket prices are higher and stuff, but it's also like the Lakers and Kobe are the premium ticket at the time. So wherever they go, the tickets are more. But at some point, you got to say he's going to take a night off. He can't be going every single game. So do you think they look at the schedule and say, you know what, like Toronto will be the one that we kind of like pull them out of, as
my opinion, I think so.
Well, Toronto was really good. They were the second or third team in the East that year. So No, I think I think they just sort of go with the flow, and then maybe come All-Star break, they can look at the second half of the season and say, okay, here's a game that maybe we're traveling back to back East Coast, but maybe we'll take this game off. But I think when they look at it from right at the beginning of the year, they don't really have a plan. I think it's more towards the end of the year when guys start to break down a bit. But I was pretty ticked off. Anyway, whatever.
We got a question from comment saying that you think that the Raptors will make a coaching change at the end of the season.
No,
I don't think so either.
No. I think Nurse is coming off a year where he won a championship. Last year, despite the bubble and all the madness with COVID, I mean, I think they finished first in the East, or second in the East last year. Yeah. And if they lost to Boston, it was just a bad matchup. But I mean, they had a good year. I think he gets at least another year to reload in the post. He's got to figure out his post situation. No, he's back. What do you think, Sig?
Yeah, same thing. I feel like he's very well integrated with Basketball Canada, and Basketball Canada is very involved with the Raptor stuff, development, and all that stuff. So I think he's too close to those guys right now. That friendship can be broken at any time. We know that, but I think he's going to be there for at least a couple years. Yeah, for sure. Because they're not putting it on him right now.
No,
what's happening? You know what I mean? So it was obvious. A big star left. You know what I mean? And then the team's not performing. And like, again, the problems are very obvious when you watch those games, right? So, yeah, I think he gets a couple more shots as long as moves are made and they're trying to go to the future.
Well, listen, let's talk a little bit more about the Raptors and the situation in terms of personnel. Like I don't know if we'd be having this conversation. We probably want to be talking about other teams' success. But the fact that the Raptors are in a playoff spot, they play the Nets this week, who are hurting. Kevin Durant has a leg contusion again. I don't think that guy's going to be healthy the rest of his career, personally. James Harden pulled his hamstring a couple weeks ago and re-aggravated it to the point where he's now off for the next 10 days. Those are two of your big three. Now you got Kyrie and a bunch of guys. LaMarcus Aldridge had to retire due to an irregular heartbeat.
Spencer Dinwiddie hasn't played.
Dinwiddie's out for the year.
Yeah.
Maybe a Blake Griffin. You're going to put it on Blake? I mean, this whole big three, it can always come back and backfire if you're getting guys who are maybe like got a lot of tread on the tire, But as far as the Raptors are concerned, they play those Nets this week, so they're going to be undermanned. That could be a game. Match up well.
Yeah. Who knows if Kyrie is going to even be there? So
Kyrie might take another day off. But when I look at the Raptors, they need the proverbial bell cow, like the workhorse, the guy that you got to put the ball in his hands, can get you 18 to 20 a night smooth. Not what we're seeing with Pascal. Pascal is not the guy.
He's not. He's an A. He's a B.
He's a 2B.
A 1A or 2B. Yeah. He
can be amazing off of your drives. He can't be the guy. And they've told him he's the guy, and now he plays like he's the guy, which means he puts up ill-advised threes. He doesn't even look to swing the ball anymore. Their MO during that championship season, they had Leonard, but how they played basketball was the ball moved around the perimeter and it moved quick. It never just stalled. Now what we're seeing is the ball gets into OG's hands and it's dribble, pound, boom, miss a shot, come back, get scored on, and then repeat that times 100. Well, it's happening with Pascal now too. He's like one track mind, and when he does drive and kick, it's off balance. It's because he's being doubled. He turns the ball over a lot. I mean, I love him. He works hard, but they need that bell cow, and a guy like Oladipo, I think, is perfect fit for them. Bigger,
I like him.
Bigger 2-guard, 18 to 20 points a game, going to shoot from the perimeter. So if they can bring in a guy like Oladipo, because they've lost out on Giannis, and fix their big situation. Kem Birch and Freddie Gillespie are not the answer, although they just re-signed Freddie Gillespie for another 10-day contract. Really like his game. If you watch the Raptors on Wednesday, keep an eye on Gillespie and Birch. They do a really good job. They just signed Yuta Watanabe for the rest of the year to a formal NBA contract. Do you like Utah?
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of upside. Like he's shown. I think he'd be a lot better. Hustle, exactly.
Hustles, drive, cuts. When there's a drive, he'll sort of cut at the right time, gets offensive rebounds. Really happy with Utah. And he's a fan favorite. He will be a fan favorite when fans are in the stands. Yeah. Brock, have you seen him play? Have you seen that Watanabe kid?
No, I haven't.
No, left-handed
sushi for a long time.
That's amazing. Good. I think so. What they need, is they have a roster right now filled with complementary players like Gary Trent, Bembry, Flynn, Watson Jr., Stanley. All those guys are good players. but they all are compliments, and they need that bell cow. They need the guy that they can go to in the post. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, it's true, 100%. I said when Kawhi left, they had to replace. They were one guy away. When Kawhi left, they were one guy away. And then the other pieces kind of started to fall. Green left, and what's the other one? Serge Ibaka and whatnot, and then they just fell off at that point. But a player, they need a 1A guy for sure, 100%. So that one Lowry can be like 20%. Sorry, go ahead. Well,
that's it. So my question to you guys now, to sort of put a cap on the Raptors, is Lowry back next year?
I'm gonna say no. I don't think he is. I don't know why he finished off this year in Toronto, but because maybe just for one, maybe last playoff run, but I don't think he's back next year. I really don't.
Brock?
I think he's back. I think.
Let's screenshot this.
There's other factors at play, and I think he's going to have his say and feelings on the team and what they need to compete. So if they don't make certain moves and don't have that feeling that they're going to be doing what they need to do to get back to real relevancy, then I can see him not re-signing and going somewhere else. But I think if the Raptors are in a position to do that, and Usari and those guys are backing him and saying we're going to get these pieces together and maybe give him a bit more opinion and say on what they want and how he wants to build this thing, then I think he stays. Ultimately, I think he's always said he's going to retire as a Raptor. I think he loves Toronto, all that kind of stuff. It's just a matter of, are they going to be relevant and make the changes that are necessary?
That's a good call. I actually think he comes back. I think he may not sign for as much money as he would have made maybe playing in Philly, but I think if he wouldn't come back, they would have traded him. They would have had. I'm sure they had these internal discussions saying, we want you to go out and chase another ring. You deserve it. You're the all-time Raptor, and we'll bring you back in the offseason. You're a UFA. Mm-hmm. The fact that they didn't trade him, and there was a couple of nice deals on the table, Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. That was a very shocking non-trade. It was.
Yeah,
100%. I think everyone expected Powell to leave. Gary Trent has been good.
Yep. Yeah.
Gary Trent has been real good, like better than Powell good.
Yeah, we've discussed this a lot on in the group. Yeah, he's
good player.
Yeah, Powell. I mean, Powell's had some good games too. But right now we're still winning that trade right now.
Steph Curry is just playing off the charts.
Did you see the stat?
It's crazy. I didn't see it. If you've got it, pull it up.
I'm going to pull it up.
He's my early MVP. Warriors are in a playoff spot with nobody.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah, let's hear
72 threes in his last 10 games.
That is insane.
Like, are you kidding? Like, what? And so the record that he beat, Wilt's record, that's another thing that's unheard of. So, I mean, Wilt, you got to think the shots that he'd be taking would be high percentage shots, dunks, layups, everything just right at the basket.
Yeah.
And Steph averaged 40 points per game on 50% field goal shooting for those 10 games in the month.
That is,
and he beat his record.
That shooting, is insane.
I can't even.
To shoot 50% anywhere is hard, but he's doing it predominantly from behind the arc too.
Yeah.
And I got the arc.
I got one more stat if I got some time.
Yeah.
72 threes in 10 games?
In 10 games. And
this one, a game.
Yeah, that's crazy. And this next stat is going to blow you away. So of the players in NBA history with most games with 10 threes made in a game, at the bottom is Zach LaVine with 2, J.R. Smith with 3, Damian Lillard with 3, James Harden with 3, Klay Thompson, right, the flamethrower himself with 5, Steph Curry 21.
They were having a debate on ESPN about who's the second greatest 3-point. They didn't even bother with who's the greatest. They said who's the second greatest, and that's a legit debate. Like, because Steph Curry is going to go down. He's already by hands down the greatest 3-point shooter in NBA history.
Yeah.
But who's the second greatest? I mean, Larry Bird was a great 3-point shooter, but it was early in sort of like when 3-point was
and
just,
he kind of
wasn't
did
even sexy yet.
everything. He kind of did everything well too, like
Yeah.
the passing, you know what I mean, and everything too, the rebounding. But
I might put Ray Allen.
Ray Allen
might be number 2.
Reggie Miller was not bad.
Ray Allen and Reggie.
Again, Reggie Miller was Reggie Miller was just transitioning to where the NBA was like the 3-point shot was kind of cool. It was getting cooler anyways, but he still played in that rough and tumble, like get the ball in the post. Like remember, Reggie played with like Antonio Davis, Dale Davis, and Rick Smits for years, and their offense was post first.
Those guys, yeah.
But yeah, I'd put Reggie, man. Maybe if Reggie played in today's NBA, he might light it up pretty good too. That would be interesting.
I like Ray Allen in that spot though. He's hit a lot. And on top of that, he's hit a lot of big clutch shots too. You know, like very memorable threes.
Dan Marley? You know what? But in today's NBA, Dan Marley and Kyle Korver. I mean, Kyle Korver was a good 3-point. In today's NBA, Dan Marley might be like 25 points a game with the way he shot the 3.
You would think so, yeah.
It just wasn't part of the game back in the early 90s and late 80s. It was kind of
5 threes. Easy, buddy.
Yeah, I mean Jeff Hornacek, and there's a lot of guys that that were great shooters in their day, but they didn't shoot it a lot because it just wasn't part of the offense. Like you couldn't play zone back then. It was man to man, so there was a guy on you anywhere you went.
Steph transcended the game. Like he's changed the game from his time at Davidson right into the pros. Like he made a statement during the tournament, and he played exactly the way he does in the pros at that point. And everybody was like, this guy is phenomenal. And he's so much fun to watch, and he can change a game. And then he does it at the pros. And, the game has changed since Steph Curry has gone into the NBA.
There have been teams who've changed the way the NBA's played, like overall philosophies. I think about, the Run TMC Warriors, Don Nelson's Mavericks when they had Nash and Nowitzki, those guys. The Suns, when they were Mike D'Antoni, they up and down, with Amari Stoudemire and all that. There were teams for sure that changed the game, but there aren't that many players that come in and do what they've done. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Steph Curry, and James Harden are the only guys that come to mind that really changed how you played basketball on offense. Yeah, I'm going to throw James Harden. I'm putting him in there. I mean, that guy does things that we'll never see. Mm-hmm. It's amazing stuff. So anyway, we've this is man, I could talk about this kind of stuff all day. We've got Sig. Let's have Sig stick around for the Untouchables. Sig should stick around for the Untouchables.
Baseball, we're going to skip the Jays.
Yeah,
Untouchables. I got an unsportsmanlike moment.
Yeah,
video that I have, and we got the GOAT talk. We got to finish that side and maybe.
Yeah, let's. I will just want to mention about the Jays. They're playing the Red Sox right now as we speak, and they had a rough weekend in Kansas City. But we'll get more into the Jays. We'll bring our resident expert, Mr. Mike, one of our executive producers, on the chat. But Brock, we should pay one more bill.
Sponsor time.
Yep. Let's hear it.
All right. Yeah. Are you selling or buying? Call Tracy Iskander with Royal LePage and Group Philip LeMay. They have the buyers and the right game plan to find you a new home. Maybe it's next door to me. You'll get personalized service in all sectors of the Outaouais region. Tracy is fluently bilingual, and with a combined 40 years of real estate experience at Group Philip LeMay, you can rest assured your home buying journey will be handled with first-class care and the best prices on the market. Contact Tracy today at 613-324-3781 or email her at Tracy at tracyiskander.com. And Mike threw me under the bus because I was reading it and everybody saw that.
I want that an email like that. I want a Pierre at pierrecariotti.pierre.
Pierre at pierrecariotti.pierre. Pierre, hashtag / Pierre. Semicolon,
Cariotti.Pierre.
I'm trying to say it.
You clearly have no idea how this thing works. Pierre at Pierre.com and Pierre Cariotti. Okay.
All right. It's go time.
Let's bring in Mikey.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster. Feeding the poor and helping out with their bills.
Is that Mikey's song?
He controls when he comes in. Yeah, that's Mike's song. That's his.
Okay.
Damn, it feels good to be, of course.
I love it.
I wasn't sure if I was adding me or you were adding me, Brock.
You're going to have to turn up your mic a little bit, though.
I was there during the ad where I thought, okay.
Gonna need you to turn the volume up there, kid.
Turn the volume up on your mic a little bit.
Sorry, what? Better?
Oh yeah,
That's better for sure.
Yeah.
Are you super delayed again?
Say again. Am I delayed?
I don't know. You're asking me something that I said
You know
2
what?
minutes ago.
Mike is our executive producer. He's got a list of things he's got to take care of behind the scenes. So when he comes on, we're bringing him on. We're kind of throwing him into the fire. So
And
Yeah.
fellas, the internet is pumping here. I got things going that you wouldn't believe. I'm keeping an eye.
it's pumping.
You got to keep your mouth near the mic, though.
That's right.
It's one of those. It's a dynamic mic. You got to be right there.
Awesome.
All right, let's. Okay, so first off, I'm going to do it because I have
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
video.
Flag on the play.
This is the unsportsmanlike moment, and Curtis might enjoy this as he's eating his tacos or whatever.
Is it a blooper?
This is Josh Allen running. I saw this on Twitter. He's doing the 40-yard dash.
No.
Oh no.
That was,
Can we play that again?
was that me?
Oh no.
Oh, as if. Oh,
Well, that's a
my
comparison of Josh
goodness.
Allen running his 40-yard dash with, I think it's
That-
Dwight Schrute's cousin from The Office.
Yes. Mose, is that his name?
Wow.
Moses.
Whoa.
Anyway, I saw it on
Oh.
Twitter and I died.
What did he run? Did he run a good 40?
Yeah, he's fast.
Yeah.
You ran
Would he
all
be
the way to the
faster if
bottom.
he used his
Yeah,
upper body?
If his arms ever went in front of his body.
Oh my God. That was
great.
priceless.
Yes.
All right, so that's.
Thank you for
I'm
sharing
crying.
that.
I'm crying.
Do you want to do Untouchables or you want to go to GOAT first?
Let's go to the bracket first. We'll end with the Untouchables.
All right, sounds good. So this is the bracket. We have already established that we have Gretzky, LeBron moving on. We have Messi and Federer moving on. MJ and Tiger moving on. The last quadrant that we have is I think it's Superstars is what it's called, but it's the Tom Brady versus Usain Bolt and Muhammad Ali versus Lisa Leslie.
Mm.
So let's go and see what we got here. So does anybody have their initial, it's locked down 100%? I think we're all pretty clear on one of them. But Sig, do you have, let's go with the Brady. No, let's go with the Ali Lisa Leslie one first. What do you got?
I think I'm going with Ali on that one.
Ali, Pep?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. The impact he made culturally. But Lisa Leslie is
Not taking anything away. Yeah.
hell of a
exactly.
basketball player.
She was the best. She was.
She
Right?
the first person to ever dunk. First
Yeah.
female basketball
Yeah,
player
I
to
believe
ever
so. Yeah, I believe
in a
so.
Professional game. Yes.
Well, like ambidextrous too, like down in the post, left, right, equally. Like she was incredible.
She was
I mean, how many
unstoppable.
WNBA titles did she win? Like I think she won. Like
I think they had a three-peat. I feel like they had a three-peat.
Yeah, but I got to go with Ali just because I mean it's Ali.
It's Ali.
All right.
Mike.
Ali from me, hands down.
Yeah. Okay.
Sound too.
No
All
doubt.
right.
That
I
sounded
think
good.
Ali is it's a hands down. The one that's a little bit harder, I think, would be the Tom Brady versus Usain Bolt.
No.
So, Mike, let's start with you this time.
Well, now this goes to what I watch, I guess, and I watch the Olympics every 4 years, the Summer Olympics, and Bolt blows me away. He's amazing. But I watch football on a weekly basis, and I'm leaning toward Tom Brady because you can't argue what the guy's done. 7 Super Bowl wins, and then leaving New England and winning one in Tampa. I'm going with Brady all the way.
All right. Pep.
Oh, yeah. It's tough, eh? You're thinking about an athlete versus, they're both athletes, but like a sport where you're competing against 3 people versus a team sport that Brock mentions all the time about football. But that being said, 22 seasons or whatever Brady's at now and all the success and all the personnel changes, yet he still keeps doing it. And he's kept his body in good shape. Again, I'm going to go Brady because I'm a football guy. So I'm going to go Brady. If any reason I'm biased, so Brady.
All right.
Sig?
Yeah, let's go Sig. I was going to say mine, then I'd see if Sig.
Oh, sorry. I know. Go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, go ahead, bro. I mean,
the argument I have is that Bolt is one man versus everybody else's best head to head, and has like not won by little bits. He is and was so freaking dominant that, I mean, in the 100, in the 200, I think he's also in the 4 to a point. Like
the relay.
Like he is the fastest man on the planet. You know, the only way somebody gets faster than him is if their lever gets longer. So if their hips are higher and they got longer legs and they can flip those levers faster than Bolt did, that's how you're going to get faster. You cover more ground in the same amount of times your legs go. And Usain is one of those freaks. Tom Brady doesn't go to the Jets and win a Super Bowl. He needs to have a team and a structure around him. Tom Brady is not going into the quarterback versus quarterback event and beating, I don't know, maybe he doesn't beat Peyton Manning. Maybe he doesn't beat a guy like Josh Allen. You know, again, freak of natures in terms of what they can do. He manages a team well. He does that extremely well. But for me, Bolt stands out from a sheer look. Who's the better athlete? And I feel like Usain has nothing else around him other than himself. And he's taken the best of the world at that point. And Brady knows other people.
I'll say this too. There's no margin for error in a event that takes 10 seconds to run.
Right?
You mess anything up, and that is, if it's a fraction of a second, you're beat, right?
100%. And that's it. That's 4 years training for that one moment. And yeah, like you say, Brady's thrown interceptions. Brady's done little things that are those missteps, but it's a long game and you can overcome that. It's like, yeah, you tie your shoes wrong, you take the wrong first step, whatever it happens to be, and it's not perfect in those minus 10 seconds. It's over. That's my thing. So I'm going with Bolt. Sig.
Yeah.
Brady domination or what?
You took it out of you took the words right out of my mouth. I guess like I've run track. I ran a lot of track, in my day, and also played football. And just like you said, the team thing, he needs a team around him for Tom Brady. And with Usain Bolt, like, it's not just the Olympics too, it's the other world championships and the other races they're doing to, obviously this guy's going to they still have to qualify. You know what I mean? So there's other races and everyone's gunning for this guy and all the pressure is on him, and coming back and improving and beating personal bests and records. And this guy took down records that I thought wouldn't fall. And yes, athletes, we seem to be getting better in time and certain records are meant to fall and whatnot. And maybe Brady has a record that might not fall, but with Usain Bolt, with what he's done, the stage he's done it at, and just wiping the floor with everybody. I got to give it to Bolt.
So are we split?
We are split.
2-2.
Do you know how we break that split?
Mike and I?
Mike and I.
Mike and I took Brady?
Team Brady.
Yeah. Look at it's Mr. Bulging Biceps himself.
Taco
man.
Tuesday. Taco Tuesday, yeah. Luckily I'm done eating.
Okay. All right. Brady, Usain Bolt, Curtis, you are the tiebreaker. Who's it going to be? Who's moving on?
Do you think I'm picking Brady while wearing this hoodie?
The Bills hoodie. No, I guess not.
No, I'm going to give it to Usain just for the pretty much the fact the reasons you guys already said. Just pure athleticism, being the best at in the world what he does. I'm going to go with Bolt.
Guys, you make there's no wrong answer, and in fact now you got me thinking about Michael Phelps, and in a similar light, taking on the world's best, every country's best swimmer, and beating them. Like he holds the record, does he not? Or I think it's probably pretty close in terms of gold medals and stuff.
I think the difference is that nobody cares about swimmers. But anyway, like
hey,
who did Phelps beat?
Any swimmers listening, I apologize. I don't. I don't watch swimming either. But yeah, it's pretty wild stuff. Guys, you make good argument. I mean, how could you argue that? The guy's an incredible runner. Oof. You know what? This next round is going to be a lot harder. Like when Bolt is facing Gretzky or whoever is next.
Bolt
like
is
that's
facing Ali next.
Oh,
It's going to be its own tough. We got Bolt, Ali, Messi versus Federer, Gretzky versus LBJ, and MJ versus Tiger is the next round.
okay, guys. Let me quickly go clockwise. I'll start with Mike. What do you think is the hardest sport to play, or let me put it another way? Who have the best athletes?
Best.
Well, that's completely different questions.
Yeah, who have the best athletes? Let me just put it that way.
Like from a single sport.
Any sport, all sports combined. What's the
Right.
hardest sport to play? Who are the best athletes in those sports?
The best athlete.
I'll start with mine. Mine's soccer. I think soccer is the hardest sport to play. It's perpetual motion. It's like 90 minutes. There's no subs. If you sub, you're out.
But don't you think you can disguise a really bad soccer player?
Good question.
You know what I mean? On a team of what are they? 9 on the field, 10 on the field. I think you can hide a guy who's horrible way easier than what about
What sport did you say?
golf.
Okay,
As-
here goes another
I'm like, okay.
Horrible athletes. Honestly, best athlete. I would have to go with it's going to be swimming or football.
Okay. Curdy?
Swimming.
Yeah, they're like there's no part of your body you don't use swimming, so they would be in tip-top shape every head to toe.
And you have to learn how to breathe. It's a completely different, it's just wild how they train.
Yeah,
Curdy?
You get cardio and
I'm going to go. Well, I mean, you asked two things. So the hardest position to play, I'm going to go NFL quarterback. The best athletes, I'm going to go with a hockey player, just because there's so many dynamic. You got to skate, you got to shoot, you got to deal with the physicality. There's a lot of elements to it. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going with.
Hockey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Position wise, yeah, quarterback 100%. It's hard. I can't do it.
No doubt.
I'm not going to argue with the swimmer. I actually agree with that after you said it, but I was going to say rugby. You got to be big, strong, fast.
Yeah.
And when you were saying, you can't really disguise or you can disguise a bad soccer player. I don't think you can disguise a bad rugby player. You're going to get taken out. So Aussie rules. Yeah, I think they're nuts.
Brock?
So European football players being crazy athletes, is that rugby or is European football soccer?
Mikey, we're going to need you to answer that in the next minute or two. But did you have a sport, Brock, did you want to mention?
I
Or
mean,
an athlete?
no, it's so tough to kind of do. I think the hardest thing in sports is baseball, is hitting a baseball from a pitcher, like it's 60 feet away. I feel like that's one of the hardest things to do.
Okay.
From an athletic means. Also, Mike's talking soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about hiding a good soccer player. All you do is give him a red card, then you're playing with one less, and they don't seem to mind. Anyway.
But we talk about conditioning. I think I should have specified. We talk about conditioning and what it takes to play that sport. Hockey's a great example because a lot of it's anaerobic training. So you're coming on 10 seconds. You train anaerobically. So they have an aerobic element to it, but it's anaerobic. It's like short, quick burst. Soccer, I find, and then my argument for soccer is both. You need to be able to have that mini burst on the field while you're running in perpetual motion, whether it's like you go from 50% speed to like full max sprint, and then you're expected to be 50% for the rest of the game. I mean, you tell me to run my fastest for 20 seconds, I'm going to need a minute break, like on the ground before I do it again. So
soccer, I mean, the defense is not like if the ball's in the offensive zone, the defensive players are not moving a whole lot. They're walking around and they're whatever. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm downplaying it.
You're also talking about cardio versus just overall athletics. What about
basketball is a tough one too. You got physical. There's a lot of physicality in basketball. It is back and forth. Or
Not everyone can shoot.
Jogging. There is nowhere to hide. It's a smaller court.
What about gymnastics? Like those guys that are on the rings in the Olympics,
Right.
the body control, that guy, the strength, the
Great.
are unreal.
Yep, that's awesome. Absolutely, for sure. I could totally see you doing that with your
The Vince Vaughn with the smoke in his mouth and the movie. Still holding.
I kind of threw that question
old
at you
school?
guys.
Was
I
it old school?
apologize.
Old
Yeah,
school,
that
yeah.
was old school. Exactly.
Still holding.
I apologize, guys. I kind of threw that question at you in two pieces, but that's what we do, man. You got to be able to just sort of change it up, and I threw that at you without a lot of thought into it. So I apologize. Put you on the spot.
It's tough. I mean, when you're thinking about it, at least in my mind, I think of what's something that the least amount of people in the world can do well.
Good. That's brilliant.
And for us, it's keeping our show within an hour. So
I was going to say running straight.
That's awesome. Okay, is that were those the only brackets to go through today? Was that it?
it was just I mean, we can go right into second round, but you got the Untouchables. So let's do the Untouchables. We're
Okay.
going to come back to semifinals next week.
Okay, you guys stick around for this, everybody.
Oh, that's not it. I have a sound for
Lyrically, untouchable, uncrushable.
for Pierre's game called Untouchable or Touchable. And it was either going to be this song or a Michael Jackson song. Anyway,
Oh no! Oh dear!
Oh no!
You know what we got to find, Brock, for a soundbite? You ever hear that guy who starts laughing, but he starts off by going, "Oh no, 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 no," and then he bursts out? Yeah,
because we did it about 8 times earlier. What else? Okay. Well, we'll find it.
Okay, so this came to mind because Patrick Marleau just broke Gordie Howe's all-time games played record last night, and it couldn't have happened to just a nicer guy, humble guy, classy guy. I'm a big Marleau fan. I really hoped it would have worked out for him in Toronto. He's now playing on a very bad San Jose team, but that's a franchise that really holds him in a high regard. If he wants to come back next year, he could very well come back. But anyway, he broke Gordie Howe's record. There was some discussion on our show page today with regards to generations, and Gordie Howe, his seasons were 60 games and not 82 games, and his last year he had 15 goals, and Marleau has 4. Like little things like that. I think it's a generational thing too. And if you see the size of the goalies back in 1979, I'm thinking Brock might have 20 goals in that season. So interesting. But this
Is that a shot at me or them? I don't know.
no, it's a shot at them, but
Okay.
so it brought to my mind today that maybe there's some other records that are they going to be untouchable or touchable? And I want you guys to answer if you think these next 9 records in sports will ever be touched, ever be broken. Some of them are going to be really interesting, and some of them, it's going to be tough. So I'll start with number 9. Byron Nelson won 11 PGA Tour, had 11 PGA Tour wins in a row in 1945. Will anybody in golf win 11 PGA championships in one season? He won 18 total that year, but he won 11 in a row.
No.
In 1 year.
Nope. I won't even come close. The only guy who had maybe the ability to do so would have been Tiger Woods, and that's over at this point. No.
Okay.
Winning a golf PGA Tour event is extremely hard to do.
Absolutely.
And the players that are considered the best in the world, like Rory McIlroy, hasn't won, I think, in a year and a half or something like that. And he's still top 5 in the world.
Crazy,
Like,
eh?
It's tough.
That's a crazy stat. Let's go, Mike. Let's go person by person. Mike, you think anyone will ever come close to that?
I'd say no, and it's more on the level of competition than it is the talking a specific player, coming along to do it. I think it's more the playing field is so level now; they're all so good. That, It won't happen.
Good point, Kurt.
His mic's off.
His mic's off. Okay, cool.
I don't know. Sage?
Oh wait, there he goes. Yeah, no, I don't think so at all.
Okay.
I feel like there'd be talk of someone getting close. If anything, I haven't heard anything, and I don't. I mean, I tune into golf once in a while, but I do not think. No, untouchable.
Yeah, that's untouchable for me too. Kurt, you want to just give thumbs up or down? Yeah. All right, next one. This one. Gretzky's 2,857 career points.
Do we know who's the next closest right now?
I think it's Ovechkin.
And what's he got? You know?
Fact check. Let's find out here.
Anyway, Mike, what do you think?
How many points does he have? The record?
2,000. Is it?
2,857 career points for Wayne
Yeah.
Gretzky.
Yeah, I'll say no, not likely.
Say-
The number.
I'll say no.
I think it's tough. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up at Stump Joe was discussing like which position in sports has improved the most over the last few decades, and arguably one of them is the hockey goalie and what they've transitioned into. Versus if you watch Gretzky highlights,
Crosses the line.
Oh yeah, these guys are stand-up goalies with these little mini pads on, and if it's along the ice, it's like shooting on me. You're like, well, if you want to score on him, he's pretty big, but just put it on the ice. He's never getting down. You know what I mean? Like it's just.
And people talk about the goalies if they wear smaller equipment. No, these guys are huge. I mean, there was a picture of, I think it was Freddie Anderson and Cujo side by side. Cujo was like half his size, and Cujo at the time was one of the best goalies in the NHL. So, yeah, the goalies are bigger and they're more agile, but they're big, but they play like they're small. It's like they're huge and fast, and that's a good point. The second closest guy is Yager. He's got 1,921, and then Messier. Surprising.
Yeah.
So that's for me. Then just seeing that is definitely no for me.
No.
Brock?
No, it's no.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So all
Untouchable.
Brett Favre's 297 consecutive games played. Philip Rivers is the next closest. I think he had 2 rounds. He played 160 in a row, and then he played 180 in a row or something crazy like that. But he never played 297 in a row.
What does Brady have?
And that's quarterback.
Well, Brady missed the season. Brady missed the whole season. He's missed a game or 2 here and there with suspension and all that. So,
is this quarterback or
quarterback?
Player?
Yeah, quarterback.
Quarterback. Okay. Yeah.
Quarterback so quarterback.
Yeah.
Because the only other position would be like field goal kicker or punter that would have
that's it.
Of being in a consecutive game, because any
exactly
other football is
not
happening.
Yeah, I think Brandon Fletcher might even have the actual record for most consecutive games. I'll have to check that out. I'll confirm next time.
So what do you think, Mike?
I can see that being beaten. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you get a guy who comes in right out of college and is successful right from the get go. Yeah, because Favre didn't. He was a starter, but it wasn't successful. So could have been benched one game, midway through, and I could see that. I could see that being beaten.
Patrick Mahomes would be the guy that right now I would say, you know what? Yeah, he came in young, started to win.
Has he missed?
You can't miss a single game though. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Like that's and Favre took a beating in 05, 06. He was when the Packers were sort of not good. That's pretty impressive. That's an impressive record. Jeez. I'm going to go no. I think that's 300 games consecutive in NFL as a quarterback. Jeez. There's too many variables. Cal Ripken Jr.'s consecutive games played, 2,632.
Mike?
No, not even. No. That one is, you think about like, and even when he broke, like Lou Gehrig would come out, he'd play 4 innings and come out of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And started those games and finished most of them.
Yeah, incredible.
That is a feat because 162 games a year to not miss a game, and I don't know how many seasons that worked out to, but it is that one won't be beaten.
Did he walk off without missing a game? Did he retire without missing a game? I'm not, because I feel like I remember a moment where it might have been just his retirement, but yeah, I don't think this record. If you're asking me, I don't think this.
I think he broke the record, and then
they had the big moment and stuff.
I think he played another season after that. I have to look at. I think he played another season after that, and he didn't start every game.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
I don't think
take a 1 day off.
Yeah.
Like to break it, and it was sort of unannounced,
and then he was done. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think so. It's too high. It's nuts.
B.
No.
Nope.
Nowadays with, I don't know. I think a lot of it comes down to finances too. Like even the football one, I talk about Mahomes saying always in a good position to do that. And if they sign an offensive lineman to give him stuff, he can move around a bit and stay. Offense caters to quick passes and getting the ball out of his hands and stuff like that. But there's just too much money involved that if these guys are nicked up, then they don't need to push them further. Because again, it's such a long-term contract and there's so much money involved. They're like, you know what, we're going to sit out a game, just relax. We're going to make sure that we protect our investment. And that's the same with baseball. Those contracts are through the roof. So that anybody who's playing on a regular basis like that is going to demand a huge salary. And therefore it's going to be like, you know what, we want to make sure that this guy can produce for years to come. So we're not going to burn him out at the beginning. So I think a lot of it comes down to the finances in these kind of situations.
Load management.
Yeah. Joe DiMaggio's 56 game hitting streak.
There's an app. What's it called, Mike? The Streak. It's called The Streak. And it's you go on, it's free. And you're trying to beat DiMaggio's 56 game hit streak by choosing any baseball player you want who plays that night. You can double down and take 2 of them, but if you lose, you go back to 0. And if you can beat the streak, so get 57 in a row, you win like $5.6 million. I have had a streak of 4, and that's it. I can't even pick, and this is from anybody. So for an individual to hit in that many consecutive games is insanity to me. So no, it's not even going to come close to it.
I couldn't agree more. You're factoring in, and I don't care if the guy's a bum that you're facing. Everything he walks you, that's not a hit. You get hurt in the game, that's not a hit. As long as you've had a bat. There are so many variables with that streak to keep that going, where you got to hit 56 times safely. It can't be an error. It can't be. It is. It won't ever be broken. You guys get to 30.
I'll just say no. I can't even add to that. These guys. Yeah, no way.
I'm going off the board. I think we've seen a couple of 30s, 35s, 40s. I think we're going to see Trout would be the one guy I could see doing. I mean, the guy's a hitting machine.
Sorry.
Okay. I do think that'll happen. Maybe who knows when that'll happen? Who knows? I think you all make great points, Brock, for sure. With like load management and guys. I just think that I just don't see that happening in baseball, where if a guy's hitting, they're not going to baby him if he plays like they need a pinch runner or something like that, and the guy has no hits. I think it's just a different era. So I think he does it. Okay, here's an interesting one. I was supposed to know this. I can't believe I didn't know this. The Celtics won 8 in a row, which I knew, from 1959 to 1966. They won 8 titles in a row, but they also won in 57. So they didn't win in 58 and in 68 and 69. So they won 11 titles in like a 13-year span. That is insane. Will that ever be broken? The 8 in a row is what the number is in the NBA.
Depends on what the players want. If the players all come together and say they want to, now it's instead of the power 3, it's the power 6, and they're like, the hell with it. We're all taking money, but we're just going to stack the team. Maybe they do
8.
Whew. Yeah, and that can work
more likely that than it is a 56 hit streak.
Really interesting, boys. Mike,
I was gonna say that can work the other way too, where different leagues have different contract structures and how you enter the league. And you look at like a baseball now, and you need to draft these guys because when they leave that rookie contract, they're overpaid and they're not as good as they were under that rookie contract. Same, not in hockey. In hockey, you're sort of getting that. You're still getting the rising, and then you're getting the what you pay for. But I would say, I mean, that's a lot. I just don't think it's under one team. There's so many variables. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Sig?
I'm saying no. I think there are 2 teams that could have come close, but I'm saying no. Brock will hate one of those teams that I mentioned.
Yeah.
So I won't mention it. But yeah, no. Bulls and Golden State. Even maybe possibly the Spurs. I think they had 5 titles for Duncan. Yeah. No, it's not going to happen. It's too hard to keep, I think, that many big personalities, like 8 times in a row. I don't think the NBA will let it happen.
Yeah.
I don't think they would let that many players, come together, because it is like some guys later at the end of their career and whatnot, stuff like that. Even like with the Nets. But yeah, no. Sorry, I talked too much.
I don't think this is one of those absolutely untouchable ones. The only teams that could have, I think, in my mind, would have been the Bulls. If Jordan didn't retire, they would have won 8 at least, I think.
Yep.
And Miami, if they would have kept Bosch and Wade and LeBron, I think they maybe. Yeah, I know they won 1 and lost 2 or whatever it was, but had they stayed together, I mean, Dwayne Wade's top 5 shooting guard of all time, and LeBron James is arguably the GOAT. Had they stayed together, they would have won. They would have won 3 or 4 consecutive. I think 5 maybe, but 8, untouchable. If
Jordan didn't go and leave for 2 years, and they won those 2 years or whatever it was in championships, Pippen would not have been there for the next 3. He would have had 5. He would have demanded a big contract. He would have demanded to have the spotlight like he wanted. He would have been gone before that. Anyway,
that's very possible.
That's very possible.
Yeah,
I mean, you make a good point. It's not probably not the case, but you make a good point.
5 championships is plenty. 2 is plenty. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. The last 2. Pete Rose, 4,256 all-time hits.
You're skipping Jerry Rice's receptions.
Did I miss that? Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay, let's go with Pete Rose.
1,549 receptions for Jerry Rice. Okay. I think that one can get beaten.
Yeah, so do I.
Agreed. I think that could be beaten.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 100 receptions for 15 straight years. When you put it that way,
you get the right quarterback, right tandem. You know what I mean? They gel.
Mahomes, Kelsey, and Mahomes, Hill. Yeah. Them all the time. It's just constant.
But how many? So Kelsey's got what? He's going into his 5th or 6th season. Can you see Kelsey playing 10 more years at 100 catches a year at tight end? I mean, that's now that I think about it, 1,500 catches, averaging. I think.
How old did Jerry Rice play till?
Like 6. He only played 17 seasons or something like that. Not only, but like, I mean, that's almost 100 receptions a year. For 10 years is okay. That's a great. I mean, AB had 100 receptions a year for 7 straight years, and then he kind of fell off the planet.
I think it's doable.
Yeah,
that's more doable than some of the other ones.
God,
it's impressive. Don't get me wrong; it's impressive.
Yeah,
but not like it's never going to get beat.
Sig,
you kind of almost changed my mind with the whole tight end thing. Can you do that for that many consecutive years? But I still think it's possible. I still think it's possible because the right scheme, the right system, the right team, and again, they can just, I don't know, they can get hot.
Larry Fitzgerald.
And I'm not saying they have season, or sorry, that's like total, right? So he might have one season where it's more.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's might make up for a down.
Has 1,432 receptions, and he played 263 games. Rice has 303. So you're looking at another 40 games.
So 3 more years.
He could pass him, if he wanted to play for that long. Jerry Rice played for a long time.
Yeah. And the last years, I feel like I don't even know if he caught a pass in Seattle.
The next 2 guys on that list at number 3 and number 4 are both tight ends, with Tony Gonzalez and then Jason Witten. And Gonzalez is sitting at 13.25 and Witten at 12.28. So these guys are up there. You know what I mean? It's a matter of longevity and what you can play.
Tough sport to play for a long time. Now more than ever, these guys are just big and strong and they'll kill you. So, well, it's either way, it's impressive. All those guys, everyone that you guys named. All right, Pete Rose, 4,256 hits. Mike, can that be beaten?
I'd like to have like I think we said that Jerry Rice could be beaten, but that one I don't think so. Like that's a lot of hits.
That's a lot of hits.
Guys get 3,000 now, and they're sort of past their prime. They probably shouldn't be playing anymore, but they keep playing just to get that 3,000. So 4,000, no, there's no way.
Who's second, Brock?
I'm glad this is your event. And Ty Cobb second.
Ty Cobb, okay.
4189. Then Hank Aaron, Stan Musial, Tris Speaker.
No idea.
No idea. Okay.
Tony
And then
Gwynn?
Derek Jeter is the next like name you would know after that at
Oh,
3,465 hits.
Okay, well, Ty
Paul
Cobb makes
Molitor's
sense.
not
That's
far
who we
down.
beat. Okay.
Eddie Murphy. I didn't know he was doing baseball, but
Eddie Murray.
Murray, yeah.
that's right. Murray. I'm dyslexic.
Sig, do you think that'll ever be broken?
I don't think so. I mean,
Albert Pujols is the only active guy remaining.
Yeah.
3245.
Yeah, I don't think so. When you see a list like that and you see all the names that are at the top and the names are at the bottom and they're like, guys that are like probably legit Hall of Fame guys that couldn't get there. Yeah, no, I don't think and again, that's not saying that the game's changed and they have either more opportunities or less opportunities. But again, I'm looking at this list and I see a lot of well-known names, and these guys are in like the 20s, not even in the top 10. So I'm gonna say no.
I think it's untouchable with the way guys pitch and bullpens and all that. 4,256 hits. Brock?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. All right. And the last one is Wilt Chamberlain's 100 points in a single game. Kobe had 81. He put up about 1 million shots, and a lot of those were at the free throw line in the fourth quarter against the Raptors of all teams. But Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in a single game, and you keep in mind most of those were just 2-point baskets. So
and free throws, a lot of free throws,
remarkable, and a lot of free throws. Yeah. So can anybody even come close to that? You think, Mike?
I'll say no.
No.
I mean, unless one guy's going to take on an entire team, or the game changes completely. But no, it's not going to happen. Teams are too good.
I feel like the two closest guys that could possibly hit the 80s are on the same team, Splash Brothers.
Yeah,
but I don't think it comes down. I really don't. It's happened in high school games, and other league games, but yeah, no, you have to have a bunch of pylons out there. You know what I mean? And what's it for? Just to beat that record? Yeah, I say absolutely not.
Brock?
Yeah, sorry, just checking the score. It says Steph Curry has 96 points right now with 12 minutes left.
I know. I forgot to turn off my NBA Jam.
I think it's tough, but I think that does the NBA end up getting a 4-point play at some point or whatever, and maybe happens to get into it?
Maybe.
This isn't not an absolute. I'll bet my life that it'll never be broken. This isn't one of those scenarios. It's going to be hard. All these records are going to be hard to beat for sure. We're not taking anything away from that. I think whatever happens to beat it is not going to be the same as Wilt doing it as 2 points nonstop. It's going to be lighting it up from outside, and it's going to be Steph getting hot, and hitting 30 in a row and then saying, let's figure this out. Now he's the free throw line for a few more. And there's 100. It's I don't know. I would not say it's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. I mean, we've seen guys score 29 points in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. If the coach just says, "Hey, we've got no fans in the stands right now. This is a boring game, middle of the season. This is your night tonight. We're gonna run every play for you." And the guy gets 55, 60 by halftime. I say yeah. Of all the records we've mentioned, I think that one for me is the one that's probably the most attainable, and I believe the 56 game hit streak will be broken at some point. Personally, those are my two. I know. I know.
See if you can even get to 12 of just any baseball player to do it.
I'm gonna do
let alone taking the one guy.
Well, what am I? Yeah, but I mean, I actually think just because of guys, I've seen guys get to 30 and be like, okay, well, let's see, you're more than halfway there. So who knows? That's it's not gonna happen, but I think if there is a record that maybe a guy could come close, who knows? You never know. Never know. Anyway, that's touchable or untouchable. Thanks for playing, guys. I really appreciate it. I thought it was very interesting.
That's your segment. So we're going to figure out if there's going to be a round 2 of that one.
For sure.
All right. I think we've exhausted our time. Everybody on the Quebec side should be home by now because your curfew was half an hour ago. So make sure you guys are home, safe. Shout out to Mike, who got his vaccine today. So if my boss is listening and needs people in the office, Mike's willing to go because I will continue to stay home and keep my distance from the office. Sig, again, happy birthday.
Yeah, bud.
Great having you on. Obviously, will not be
Appreciate
the
it.
last time we have you on. Mikey, thanks for joining us, and thanks for producing this in the background and not being on such a delay, which is nice. And Curtis, obviously, thanks for joining and breaking the tie. We are going out to a song that was inspired by Pep's Facebook post, I think, about what was the number one song when you were a certain age, whatever. So at 19, when I started going out, this was the number one song. It's called I'll Be Missing You with P. Diddy, Faith Evans, and 112, right around the death of Biggie. And this is it. I actually had the when I was 21, but it was Bills, Bills, Bills by Destiny's Child. And I thought now gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Later, boys.
Took my brain, try to black it out, but it plays again. When it's real, feeling's hard to conceal. Can't imagine all the pain I feel. Give anything to hear half your breath. I know you're still living your life after death.
Every move I make, every single day, every time I pray, I'll be missing you. Thinking of the day when you went away. What a life to take, what a bond to break. I'll be missing you.
It's kinda hard with you not around. Know you in heaven smiling down, watching us while we pray for you. Every day we pray for you, till the day we meet again. In my heart is where I keep you, friend. Memories give me the strength I need to proceed, strength I need to believe. My thoughts big, I just can't define. Wish I could turn back the hands of time. Us in the six, shop for new clothes and kicks. You and me taking flicks, making hits, stages they receive you on. Still can't believe you're gonna give anything to hear half your breath. I know you're still living your life after death.
Every move I make, every single day, every time I pray, I'll be missing you. Thinking of the day when you went away. What a life to take, what a bond to break. I'll be missing you. Somebody tell me why. One glad morning when this life is over, I know I'll see your face. Every night I pray, every step I take, every move I make, every sleep all day, every night I pray.
Every day that passes is a day that I get closer. Seeing you again. We miss you, babe. And we won't stop, cause we can't stop.